University of Nevada, Las Vegas, running Rebels against the Bulldogs of Fresno State. Welcome to Selland Arena, the home of the Fresno State Bulldogs. A place that used to hold 6,600. It has been newly enlarged, now has a seating capacity of over 10,000. And the Red Wave definitely in force here today as Fresno State battles one of their key rivals in the PCAA, UNLV. Shortly, just a few seconds ago, the Fresno State team went all around the floor and the fans applauding, so the fans are as pumped up as the basketball players. Hello, everybody. This is Mike Walden along with Lynn Shackelford. And one thing is sure right from the outset, we'll see lots and lots of red today.
I don't think you can overemphasize what the crowd can do to help Fresno State and how they might rattle the visiting UNLV Rebels.
It'll be interesting to see if they can rattle Richie Adams because he is the key man for UNLV. The PCAA Player of the Year last season, having another great year in 1985.
Well, as the big man inside, if he comes out and asserts himself on defense and blocks a few shots and then scores underneath, that'll help settle his teammates down. He's having a good year, and I think a lot of people are overlooking that.
A surprise starter today for Fresno State. His first start, Fred Emerson, a 6'8", 210-pound junior from Lexington, Kentucky.
Perhaps a little gamble on the part of Fresno State. He's only played 38 minutes all year long, but he's a big guy, so he can match up against the Rebels, and he's an enthusiastic player. They love him here.
This could be another milestone for Jerry Tarkanian. A victory today would be Tarkanian's 400th, and that would be as a major college coach over 17 seasons.
This team has gone just the way he predicted it would, that it has improved as the season has progresses, and he's done a fine job of bringing them along.
And so has Boyd Grant done a fine job at Fresno State. They call this place Grant's Tomb. Under Grant's guidance, the Bulldogs have won 97 and lost only 12 here.
This is perfect week. They lost to Fullerton, so he had the attention of his players all week long, and believe me, he got to prepare them for this big game. That's what he likes to do in coaching.
Thus, we have the #1 team in the PCAA, UNLV, versus the #2 team, Fresno State, and the fireworks are about to begin. We'll have the starting lineups for you in just a few seconds. The picture, trying to get that problem cleared up. I know it's okay in some areas and some areas it's not, but we'll try to have it for you, working on the problem right now. But right now, it's time for the introduction of the starting players. And for that, we go to the public address announcer at Selland Arena, Brent DeMonte.
Go. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may we introduce the starting lineups for this afternoon's game. First, for UN Las Vegas, starting at forward, 6'8", number 25, Spoon James. For Fresno State, starting at forward, 6'8", number 44, Scott Barnes. The other forward for the Rebels, 6'8", number 35, Armin Gilliam. The other forward for Fresno State, 6'8", number 55, Jos Kuipers. At center for the Rebels, 6'9", number 31, Richie Adams. At center for the Bulldogs, 6'8", number 33, Fred Emerson. Starting at guard for UNLV, 6'6", number 11, Anthony Jones. At guard for Fresno State, 6 feet even, number 3, Ron Strain. The other guard for the Rebels, 6'2", number 13, Freddie Banks. And the other guard for Fresno State, 6'4", number 42, Mitch Arnold. The coaches for this afternoon's game, for UNLV, Jerry Tarkanian, and for Fresno State, Coach Boyd Grant.
We apologize again for the lack of the picture of today's game in some areas. We hope that you will bear with us. We're trying to rectify it just as soon as possible. We're all set for the tip-off. We'll have that for you right after these messages. By calling 714-261-2525. Don't miss the action. The referee today will be Chuck Camuso from Sunnyvale, California, and the umpires Al Hackney from Westminster, California, Clarence Hammond from Santa Clara. UNLV 18-2, 11-0 in the league. Fresno State 13-6, 8-2 in second place in the PCAA. And the Rebels will bring it up. Freddie Banks. He's picked up right away by Ron Strain. Spoon James. The crowd on its feet, yelling, and they'll stay that way until their team scores. 2-0 on the bucket by Spoon James.
That's what Las Vegas needs to do, is be very cool out there, get off to a good start, take some good shots, settle the crowd down a little bit, and settle themselves down. If not, they could be in for a long afternoon.
A year ago, UNLV lost to Fresno State 68-43. 43 points, the lowest point total ever for a Tarkanian team. But in that game, Fresno got off to a great start, leading 8-0 at one stage. Never behind, and Fresno State went on to win it easily. Banks is on Strain. Knocked away. Mitch Arnold is there to retrieve it.
Down to 7 on the shot clock.
Kuipers lets fly. A three-pointer by Yost Kuipers.
You've got two lines out there on the court. It's the red one or the closest one. That's what we're playing, is the three-point basket. 19-9 away.
Pass underneath to Richie Adams. Out of bounds, Fresno. The Rebels tried to pound it inside. Couldn't hold on. Fresno State will bring it up.
Kuipers, by the way, now is 7 for 9 from the three-point range on the year. So look for some more of that, perhaps.
Last time we saw Fresno State, he punctured the lights out of Utah State in Logan, hitting 4 straight three-pointers to pull the Bulldogs from the brink of defeat to a one-point victory.
One of the keys here is this tough man-to-man that UNLV plays. They've got to get on him and play it real tough all afternoon.
Adams takes the rebound down to Anthony Jones. 4-3 Vegas. Mitch Arnold to, that's kicked inadvertently by Richie Adams. It'll be out of bounds to Mitch Arnold. In the first meeting of these two teams in Las Vegas about 3-4 weeks ago, the Redmond Rebels were the victors, 70-58. That'll be out of bounds to Nevada, Las Vegas. Again, we apologize for the lack of picture in some areas on our network. We're trying our best to solve the problem so that you'll be able to see this game. It's okay, I understand, in some of the other cities, but we just hope you'll bear with us. Gilliam has it blocked by Scott Barnes. Foul will be on Armin Gilliam.
Crowd loves it, of course. There will be no free throws for Fresno State, but they love anything that goes against UNLV. Barnes makes a good block. He is a good shot blocker, and then Gilliam fouls him when Barnes gets a hold of the ball. Now, UNLV does, I think, a pretty smart thing. They put a little backcourt pressure on Fresno State. They've got the defensive guards that they can do that and harass the Fresno State players and maybe take them out of their offense.
Emerson along the baseline. Stepped over the line, so it'll be out of bounds to the Rebels.
Now, again, a big risk. He's only played 38 minutes the whole year. Fred Emerson comes in the starting lineup, maybe their biggest game of the year right here, and there's a lot of pressure on him, and I think I'm not sure that he's ready to respond to that just yet.
This is the 20th game of the year for Fresno State, and Emerson has been in only 9 of them. His first start today. Gilliam partially deflected by Scott Barnes. Comes right back over to Gilliam, and he scores. The Rebels just pounding it inside, leading now 6-3.
Fresno State, aside from that shot by Kuipers to beat the shot clock, really hasn't been unable to do anything offensively.
Kuipers on a two-point attempt, tapped back by Mitch Arnold to Ron Strain. Scott Barnes.
That'll be important if Barnes can hit that. Remember, with Emerson starting, Scott Barnes is at a forward, so he might get some more opportunities to shoot from the outside. That was about a 10-footer.
Inside it goes in the variation of the alley-oop to Anthony Jones. And a foul's going to be called on Jones pushing off.
Well, the alley-oop was to Jones. He grabbed the rim.
That's the second foul against the Rebels, the first against Anthony Jones.
And you're right, Mike. He went up and tried to dunk it through, but they called a foul on him.
6-5 UNLV lead in the early going. We've played almost 4 minutes from Sellen. Strain doesn't shoot much. Going to try that one off the glass. Barnes puts it up. He does. Yes, he got it. It started to come off, then rattled back inside. 7-6 Fresno State. Freddie Banks passes to Jones. And Kuipers has it for Fresno. A 7-6 Fresno State lead. There's Barnes underneath. And foul whistle against Richie Adams. And Richie upset over that call. Meanwhile, the red wave at Fresno, they love it.
They do love it. Now, notice all of a sudden Fresno State's able to get the ball inside. Barnes goes up and gets fouled inside. They played the first 2 minutes. Las Vegas did great defense. Now they're starting to let up a little bit. I think Jerry Tarkanian will look to his bench if they continue to let up. For Las Vegas to win this game today, they've got to play with some intensity out there on defense, and they just started to loosen up a little.
Barnes is a 68% free throw shooter, but he's been much better than that in PCAA play. He is 77% in the conference. 8-6 lead, Fresno State. Barnes squats low and pops that one in. 3-point lead now for Fresno State. We get our first timeout, and the folks here in Fresno on their feet applauding. The Bulldogs lead by 3 with 4.5 minutes played here in the first half. Fresno State always prides itself on its patience in defense. The number 2 team of the nation on defense, and the number 1 team is Princeton, 1 percentage point, 1/10 of a percentage point better.
And of course, you've got UNLV under Jerry Tarkanian. He likes to run, and they've done it with a great deal of success this year. They're 7th offensively.
A 9-6 lead for Fresno State.
Now we got a change in defense, a little matchup zone, and they make the steal.
And Spoon James and Kuipers started to get into it. Some elbows were flying out of bounds, Fresno.
Yeah, but I think James was more upset with the call than he was at Kuipers. That was a good, smart call coming out of that timeout. They changed their defense and threw UNLV off.
Emerson looking in for Barnes. Barnes from outside. Chased down by Gilliam, who taps it over to Spoon James. Fresno State 9, UNLV 6. Jones from the side. Scott Barnes with another rebound. Barnes off to a great start. He has 6 points so far, and he's boarding well.
Seems to like that forward position.
Arnold underneath. Emerson blows the lay-in. And it's taken off by Gilliam. Here comes Freddie Banks. Banks passes underneath to Richie Adams. And what do we got? We've got a foul on Ron Strain.
That was a good pass, by the way, by Freddie Banks. This will be important for UNLV today, for Banks to assert himself as a team leader out there. He makes a nice little pass off to Adams. Actually, Adams wasn't ready. Had he been ready, he could have thrown it in for a quick dunk before the foul was called.
A 9-6 Fresno State lead. It's knocked away from Barnes. Loose ball goes out of bounds. It'll be out of bounds, Fresno State. Jones touched it last. Well, the Bulldogs are getting some breaks early. A 9-6 lead for Boyd Grant's team. Fresno State is 97-12 here in Sullivan Arena. That's a winning percentage of 89. Emerson working out in front now, posted low, Kuipers. Scott Barnes along the baseline, rejected by Gilliam. The fans yelling goaltending, no call. Freddie Banks stops it right at the top of the circle for a three-point attempt. Touched last by Mitch Arnold, out of bounds to the Rebels. Jerry Tarkanian, a graduate of Fresno State.
Yeah, he still has relatives in this area. He's from this area.
Anthony Jones out to Banks. Spoon James. There's Richie Adams. Deflected by Emerson. Barnes has it. Strain in the middle. Kuipers. Kuipers will pull up. No good. Chased down by Mitch Arnold. Still a 9-6 lead for Fresno. We have 13 minutes left in this half. Mitch Arnold fires from outside. Short follow-up. Kuipers.
Well, I don't know if it was intentional or not. Richie Adams was on Mitch Arnold, so he wasn't underneath. And that's why Kuipers, when he got the rebound, threw it in without being contested.
And it goes to Richie Adams. Another rebound for Scott Barnes. Barnes has 5 rebounds to go with his 6 points. Strain it along the lane. Barnes. Here comes Strain. He's got it.
They've got to call timeout. That's what I was talking about.
Timeout. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And it's a 15-6 lead. Fresno State with 12 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first half. Hello again, everybody. Mike Walden and Lynn Shackelford from Sullivan Arena in Fresno. We understand our picture problems have been cleared, and everybody along the network is now getting this game. 10 straight points by Fresno State has upped them to a 15-6 lead over UNLV. The Rebels led 6-5, and the Bulldogs have rattled off 10 unanswered points. Ed Catchings is in now for UNLV. Jones over to Richie Adams. Kuipers with 7 points and Barnes with 6. The leaders for Fresno State. Ed Catchings has really helped this UNLV team in the last couple of weeks. His game has improved considerably.
Hey, I'm happy to see it because he's a senior and he would look like he was tailing off his senior year, but now he's really come on strong. I think he's going to finish his career at UNLV in a fine fashion. Surprisingly to me, Fresno State's made a few substitutions. Boyd Grant has taken the opportunity in the lead to throw Salone and Gustin into the game very quickly. I'm sure it'll be for a brief time.
A spin fingertip roll by Freddie Banks. That ends the UNLV drought. The Bulldogs had scored 10 straight points. Brian Salone. Mark Gustin. In case you're just joining us, Fred Emerson made a surprise start for Fresno State. Gustin is in there now. He's got the ball, guarded by Anthony Jones. Brian Salone over to Yost Kuipers. He's good from that point. Indeed he is. 17-8. Kuipers has 9. And at the other end, the Rebels come back to counter.
I get the impression Anthony Jones would be cool if he played here every night in this enemy arena. He seems like a smart basketball player out there. That was a big basket. Really just took the crowd right out of it.
There's Brian Salone. Stripped of the ball, out of bounds, Fresno State. Scott Barnes will be back in, along with Daniel Means for Fresno. Ron Strain will come out, so will Mark Gustin. A 7-point lead for the Bulldogs, 17-10. We're nearing the midway point in the first half. UNLV with the longest winning streak in the nation, 17 in a row. Last time UNLV lost was on December the 8th. They were thrashed back in the East by Georgetown, 82-46. But since that time, nothing but wins for UNLV coming into this game. An 18-2 record, 11-0 in the conference, and the Rebels are ranked 11th and 12th in the 2 wire service polls.
Rare turnover by Mitch Arnold.
He turns it over on the average of about once every game, which is outstanding considering how much time he handles the ball.
It really is. 15 turnovers in 656 minutes of play.
Banks misses. Gilliam has the ball, puts it up, a little bit short, and we've got a foul underneath on Scott Barnes.
That's where Gilliam really hurt you, is that inside there. He gets a good offensive rebound, did a good job. Of course, Fresno State can ill afford to have Scott Barnes in foul trouble. Whoop.
Armin Gilliam will go to the line. 6'8" sophomore from Pittsburgh. Gilliam is a 62%er at the line. Score remains 17-10, Fresno State. Missed both of them. Barnes with another rebound. 6 rebounds for Scott Barnes to go with his 6 points. Daniel Means for Fresno. Checked there by Freddie Banks. Barnes to Yost Kuipers. Kuipers misses on the 18-footer. Jones loses the ball, retrieves it for UNLV. Look at Barnes, chested him all the way.
Yeah, Kuipers was lucky he didn't get called for a foul, too.
Anthony Jones will pull up and take it. Underneath, Gilliam. Now the running Rebels pull to within 5 at 17-12. The Rebels have scored 6 straight points. Means and Barnes into Yost Kuipers. He can't hold on. Out of bounds to UNLV. And Jones is protesting to one of the officials, Clarence Hammond, that one of the Fresno players using his elbow too much. Boyd Grant, 8th year here at Fresno State, and what success he has had. He's always predicated his team's abilities on defense. Catchings misses. Loose ball. Mitch Arnold has it. Fresno State has always been in the top 5 of the nation on defense. And ranking number 2 right now at 54.2. Yost Kuipers will get a rest, and Kenny Cook will replace him. Spoon Jeans back in for UNLV. Armin Gilliam goes to the bench.
And also coming back in is Richie Adams, who was just given a quick rest. Kenny Cook, junior college transfer for Fresno State, comes in. Richie Adams, by the way, a little bit under the weather with the flu, and I think that's why Jerry Tarkanian gave him that quick rest here at the start.
There's Kenny Cook traveling on Cook.
That's what's certain Fresno State, Mike. That's at least 3 turnovers here in the last minute and a half.
Turnovers, 5 for Fresno State, 5 for UNLV. Foul is against Brian Salone, holding Richard Robinson.
Kind of interesting. UNLV has a very strong bench, and I can understand them substituting a lot. On the other hand, Fresno State, if they're to win this game, I think is going to have to do it with their top 6 or 7 players. However, Boyd Grant substituting freely here in the first half.
Adams puts it right in on the lob inbounds pass from Freddie Banks.
That's a perfect example. Salone was just sleeping there. Maybe one of your regular players wouldn't have been sleeping. That was an easy basket for UNLV. I think what Boyd Grant is thinking, he's got this big crowd, big game. He wants to get some of these other players a feel of the game in case he needs them in the second half.
Robinson rebounding for UNLV. Clears it up to Fred Banks. 17-14. Into Adams, they deny it. Salone tapped it away, but James is there to get it right back for UNLV. High pass to Freddie Banks. He can't hold on. The 6th turnover by UNLV. There's Keith Hughes, one of the assistants at Fresno State. The others, Ron Adams and Fred Litzenberger on Boyd Grant's staff. We'll get a timeout here at Selland Arena. 7:56 left And it's a 3-point lead for Fresno State over UNLV. Neither team is shooting very well. Both of them right at 39%. And they're both about 10 points better than that from the floor in previous games. Notice everything is identical. 7 for 18, 39%.
That is a little unusual, and yet Fresno State with maybe some more. Well, I think the turnovers are probably about even, too. It does have that 3-point lead.
Kuipers with 9, Barnes with 6, Strain 2 for Fresno State. Anthony Jones, the leader for UNLV, with 4 points, and 5 players have 2.
As we watch Fresno State run their offense, remember Mitch Arnold hasn't been doing much scoring recently, but he's a good team player, and he does a lot of other things. And I don't think he's the kind of player that gets upset when he doesn't score, but it'd be a bonus if he could come back. He's been shooting 30% about the last 3 games.
Barnes goes for the baseline. It's knocked away. Touched last by Richie Adams. Out of bounds, Fresno State. Ed Catchings, number 20 for the Rebels, and 00 is Richard Robinson. Danny Tarkanian is here today, along with Bernard Thompson.
I don't understand that. They give him a whole new 45 seconds on the shot clock.
Mitch Arnold bombs away, can't get it to fall. Kuipers tied up by Richie Adams. It'll be out of bounds on the alternate possession rule to Nevada, Las Vegas.
Except for that one little spurt where Fresno State scored 10 straight, I'm impressed with UNLV's defense. They're doing a good job.
The ball is brought up by Gary Graham. The Rebels going with Graham, Spoon James, Richie Adams, Ed Catchings, Richard Robinson. James from outside for a 3-point attempt. Picked up by Richie. That's about a 12-footer by Richie. Slapped back into play, and Graham has it. There goes Richie Adams again. Adams is having tough luck on his shots.
That went down pretty deep before it decided to come back out again.
It's still a 17-14 lead, Fresno State. Mitch Arnold is open. He's got it. Mitch Arnold, a 6'4" senior out of Illinois. A 19-14 lead for Fresno. Strain guarding Danny Graham. No one near Spoon James, so he'll let her fly. Mitch Arnold with the ball.
Spoon James missed that bat. Again, backcourt
foul on Gary Graham. Actually, that was a foolish foul on Graham's part.
This is a tough shot. He was really wide open when he went up, and James, a good shooter, really missed it badly. Then you're going to see Graham. He just ran in there and started reaching in. That's when the official nabbed him.
4 team fouls against UNLV. Fresno State has committed 3. Mitch Arnold will inbound it to Scott Barnes. Back over to Mitch. Strain lays it off to Emerson.
They're going to take it away. Call it on Strain. I think that was a good acting job by the UNLV defensive player. Let's take a look at it. He plants himself. Yeah, Strain didn't stop and avoid him enough, but I'll tell you, he barely brushed against him.
So the score will remain 19-14. Team fouls are even at 4. Ed Catchings on the drive. Passes over to Gilliam.
Oh, that'll even it out.
Clarence Hammond made the call.
You're going to see, I think, a block. I don't think this player was set defensively when Catchings goes around. See, he's still moving. He's trying to get set, and Catchings plows into him. I thought it was a block, so it kind of evens out what went down at the other end.
Foul on Catchings. And Brian Salone checks in again for Fresno State. Scott Barnes will go out. Fresno State operating with Mitch Arnold, Brian Salone, Ron Strain, Yost Kuipers, and Fred Emerson. A 19-14 lead for the Bulldogs. No harm, no foul, although Jones went down on the seat of his britches.
You know, Kuipers is from Holland. That's a little rougher ball over there, so he's used to getting the guy away from him.
Tough shot from Mitch Arnold. And it's taken down by Barnes, and Barnes is hammered. Barnes has really been doing a job on the boards today. jumping higher and better than I have seen him.
Kuipers. Kuipers is the guy that got fouled.
Well, I was talking about Barnes because of the job he's been doing today. He's really been boarding hard.
Right. Now, Kuipers goes up, and Anthony Jones, I know it makes a rough foul, but he did the right thing. He made sure he didn't score the basket. Hit him real hard.
6 fouls against UNLV. 4 called on Fresno State. We have 5 minutes and 15 seconds left in the half. Strain sees some daylight. Oh, off to Emerson. He can't hold on, but Mitch Arnold is there to save it for the Bulldogs. Anthony Jones. Freddie Banks. Chased down by both Kuipers and Gilliam.
They're saying Kuipers stepped on the line. He almost made a great play, though. Freddie Banks makes a wild shot here. Good defensive player. Well, we're not going to see it, but Kuipers almost made a great save, but he was on the line.
I was surprised that Banks didn't go in another step or two.
Yeah, I think he had bad judgment there. The defensive player may have outguessed him a little bit on that play.
Scott Barnes in. Emerson goes out. Daniel Means back in for Fresno State. And Ramon Trice comes in. So 3 changes now for Fresno State. 19-14, the Bulldogs.
Little zone or matchup zone, if you'd like, by UNLV. Seems like Ed Catchings hasn't got a good shot off. He's getting the ball so far away from the basket. I'd like to see him set up closer. I think they could get a good shot for him.
A 3-pointer by Freddie Banks, chased down by Daniel Means. Fresno with the ball and a 19-14 lead. Ramon Trice. Out to Brian Salone. It's a very, very passive pass. Here is Kuipers underneath. And once again, Fresno State has a 7-point lead. 11 of the 21 points scored by Yost Kuipers.
UNLV comes in averaging 88 points a game in conference play, and they've only got 14 here with just under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Just the way Fresno State likes it.
Jones misses from outside. Another rebound for Kuipers. To Daniel Means. Scott Barnes. Trice will try a shot from the side. Heartbreak, a tip, no good. Barnes has it. Knocked away from him, out of bounds, Fresno State. Timeout called here at Selland Arena. A crowd of over 10,000 sellout on their feet, applauding the play of the Bulldogs. And the Bulldogs have responded with a 21-14 lead over UNLV with 3.5 minutes left in this half. The biggest Fresno State lead, 15-6, 9 points. Now the Bulldogs lead by a 21-14 count over UNLV. And there is timeout, the mascot of Fresno State.
If you ever wanted college basketball atmosphere in red, come to Selland Arena. You'll get all you want.
Mitch Arnold has been in a shooting slump the last 4 games. Mitch is only 1 out of 5 from the floor so far today. The Dogs have been led by Kuipers with 11 points and 4 rebounds, and by Barnes, 6 points and 7 rebounds. 21-14 lead. Barnes, wild shot by Barnes, chased down by Mitch Arnold, but it comes right over to Freddie Banks.
Wisely, he comes back, sets up the offense. Yeah, he didn't have the fast break.
Fresno State in the zone. Over to Spoon James. Anthony Jones over to Gilliam. Gilliam puts it up, misses the foul against Scott Barnes. Scott Barnes commits the personal. That'll be the 4th team foul against, 5th team foul against Fresno State. The last time Gilliam was at the line, he missed both of them. Yost Kuipers back into the Fresno State lineup. Going out, Mark Gustin. This is the strongman for UNLV. A transfer from Independence Junior College in Kansas. They call him the Hammer. He's 0 for 3 now at the foul line.
Do they call it maybe the hammer because of his free throw shooting touch so far? That one actually was fairly soft. That one's in.
21-15. Fresno State. Mitch Arnold being bothered by Anthony Jones. And the foul is on Jones. That'll be the 17th foul, and it'll be 1-1 for the rest of this half for Fresno State. 2:53 left. Mitch Arnold is a good free throw shooter, 86% at the line. So the Bulldogs, leading 21-15, will have Arnold at the line to see if he can pad that margin. Mitch Arnold was a senior last year. They got another year of eligibility for him because he had played only 3 games for the University of Illinois some 5 years ago. So actually, Mitch Arnold is a walk-on. He is not on scholarship. 23-15. The reason for that is when he made his decision that he wasn't going to go into the NBA draft, although he was drafted by the Golden State Warriors, he had a change in mind and came back and all the scholarships were used. So Arnold is paying his own way. Spoon James. 23-15 Fresno. Pass to Gilliam underneath. Blocked nicely by Salone. Foul we've called against Brian Salone. His second.
This is what Las Vegas is trying to do. Wear him down inside. A good little pass in there to Gilliam. That set it all up. The only way you're going to stop him at that point was to make the foul. But it was pretty good passing by UNLV, and it's obvious they think they can get that after a few passes, one inside.
He's having all sorts of trouble at the line. 1 for 5 free throwing. Armand Gilliam. Crowd trying to distract him. Not on that one. 23-16 Fresno. Means and Banks right near the midcourt line. Means is just a freshman, seeing a lot of playing time here in the first half. Kuipers across to Brian Salone.
Pretty good little zone defense by UNLV. They're playing it hard.
Spoon James and Kuipers are having quite a battle. Mitch Arnold. James with it. Freddie Banks. Still a 23-16 lead.
That's where
Banks makes it 23-18.
You know, everyone says, oh, he's the point guard and he's going to set up the offense, but that guy can really hit that jump shot. If you don't pick him up out there, he'll hurt you.
Banks with 4 points. We get a foul away from play called on Gilliam. Armand Gilliam.
It was getting pretty rough under there.
And the officials, Chuck Camuso, Al Hackney, and Clarence Hammond, trying to keep order out there. Jerry Tarkanian up. Next to him, the 2 assistant coaches, Bob Kloppenberg and Tim Gergerich of UNLV.
Those coaches have been up most of the first half. They've been up more than they've been down.
At the free throw line will be Fred Emerson. Emerson hasn't been there much this season, but he has made 5 out of 6, 83%. Oh, look at that, would you?
It's in all the way.
Talk about your roulette shots. Oh, my.
I can't recall seeing a free throw like that.
Nor can I. 1. Look at that spin. Started to come out. Round and round she goes, and where she stops. Here's Emerson again, and we're going to get a violation, a lane violation.
Yeah, I think they're going to call it on Joe Kuipers going in there too soon. As far as I'm concerned, in college basketball, you can almost call that violation every time a guy shoots a free throw. Those guys are dashing in there to get in the lane.
24-18, Fresno State. And in many ways, this game resembles the contest last year here in Fresno between these 2 teams.
Which was won by Fresno State by 25 points.
There's Richie Adams. He really poured that one in. 24-20, 4 points for Richie Adams. Kuipers, 5-second count. He was closely guarded by Spoon James. He didn't do anything with the ball. Out of bounds to UNLV. We have 67 seconds left in the first half. Fresno sets up in a 2-3 zone. Now it looks like a 3-2 with Kuipers in the middle, flanked by Arnold on one side and Strain on the other.
Yeah, and they're packing it in pretty well, too. There it is.
The alley-oop. Richie Adams.
That's what happens when you're standing in a zone like that. The offense can move on you, and you're not ready for it, and that's what happened there. That was a brilliant play. Nice pass. Fresno
State had a 9-point lead at one time. That melted. Then an 8-point lead, and now the UNLV Rebels are only 2 down at 24-22.
Crowd would love it if they'd score here to end the half.
Cuts last by Banks. He was trying to get a breakaway.
Should run it down to about 7-5 seconds when they take the shot.
Think they'd go for the three-pointer?
Kuipers would if he got it.
Kuipers is down low. There's Kuipers. It's only a 2-point attempt. And it's taken down by Gilliam over to Freddie Banks. Couldn't get the shot away. He got it away, but it was after the buzzer. At halftime from Fresno State, the Bulldogs lead UNLV 24-22. We'll be back in just a moment, but first, these messages from our local stations. Conference have really dominated league play. Coming into this game, UNLV has a conference record now of 41-3. Only 3 teams have beaten them: Fresno State, UC Irvine, and Fullerton.
That's quite impressive. Of course, one of the losses was, as you mentioned, this game right here a year ago when Fresno State won by 25. They also lost to Fresno in the finals of the PCA tournament. That was a 1-point game. Fans up here in Fresno well aware of what's happened here, and that's why they're out in great numbers today. Capacity 10,132. They expanded the Selland Arena, and they lead the state of California in attendance at the university level in basketball.
We'll be back with more PCAA basketball from Cat Sports following these messages from 56 defeats. That's a winning percentage of 75. Furthermore, he is the 4th winningest active Division I coach. Jerry Tarkanian is number 1. Denny Crum of Louisville, number 2. Dean Smith, North Carolina, number 3.
Yeah, to carry that one step further, that little feature there, if you ever watch a Fresno State practice, it's a real delight if you've ever played basketball before. Very organized. The assistant coaches do some of the coaching. Boyd Grant is out there watching over it, all of it, and there's not really 10 or 20 seconds in the whole 2-hour practice wasted.
Our halftime score from Selland Arena.
Field goals in the first half. UNLV 10.
While we were away, Jim Sweeney, the Fresno State football coach, threw off his coat, unloosened his tie, went out to midcourt, and led the 10,100 fans in a big Fresno State cheer. He is all wrapped up. I remember Jim Sweeney doing that when he was the head football coach at Washington State.
Well, it's a lot of fun when you come to a basketball game here. There's a lot of atmosphere. Bernard Thompson, great forward last year for Fresno State, is here. Of course, it's the NBA All-Star game break. He plays for the Portland Trail Blazers. His extra time, he wants to come down and watch the UNLV Fresno State game. And it was a pretty good first half, too. Richie Adams leading score, and the big guys you can see doing the scoring inside for UNLV, although Banks hit a couple from outside.
And for Fresno State, the leader has been Yost Kuipers. 11 points and 4 rebounds to go with those 11. Scott Barnes, 6 points and 6 rebounds. Mitch Arnold has only 4 points, but Mitch has 4 rebounds.
Well, that's what I was saying. Arnold's not doing as much scoring because everyone's starting to think about him. Now, if he keeps going like this for a few games and doesn't shoot and score, then he'll be open again because they'll slack off of him a little bit. Big difference in the game. You can see maybe because of the intensity of the game and everything, neither team is shooting particularly well, but UNLV has been hurt at the free throw line. Armin Gilliam, of course, is the man who has missed those. UNLV has surprisingly, I think, kept down their turnover load. That total of 7 turnovers is very good.
Our halftime score, Fresno State 24, UNLV 22. The start of the second half after these messages from our local station. Welcome to Grant's Tomb, huh? There's one big sign up in the upper reaches of this expanded Selland Arena that said, Boyd's bleacher bums collect shark's teeth. Signs all over. Well, we're going into the second half now. 2-point lead for Fresno State, 24-22. Barnes, Strain, Kuipers, Arnold, and Emerson. The way they started, right at the free throw line, lays it off over to Strain, back over to Arnold. He takes an even tougher shot and hits it.
Yeah, but he's a better shooter. Strain, really a team player, made the smart, unselfish play to give it to the better shooter.
UNLV with Freddie Banks, Armand Gilliam, Spoon James, Anthony Jones, Richie Adams to start this second half. 4-point lead now for the Bulldogs. James off to Anthony Jones. Jones drives in and had a block, and Al Hackney's got a foul.
That is not Jerry Tarkanian.
No, it is not. Fred Emerson commits the foul. Anthony Jones goes to the line. Jones is only a 54% free throw shooter.
That is kind of strange, isn't it? He's a good shooter. Looks like a good basketball player that does everything well, and you would think he'd be about a 75%er at least.
He makes about half of his field goal attempts, just under that, 49%. But at the line, something else again. Jones misses both free throws. Gilliam has had his problems. In fact, the entire UNLV team. Arnold misses. There's Emerson. He scores it. And so the Bulldogs come roaring out of the gate to start the second half by scoring 4 straight points. 28-22. Jones out to Freddie Banks. Richie Adams, that might be too far out for Richie. Follow up, no good by Jones. Another tip, no good by Jones. Kuipers has it for Fresno. 5 boards for Yost Kuipers. Strain on the drive, has it knocked away. Frank James, 2-on-1. Now it's a 3-on-1. Over to James. James underneath to Jones.
Jones this time doesn't miss that little shot. Nice pass by Spoon James. Got an official's time here. I think he's going to back off the cheerleaders just a little bit.
They are really packed into this building. And UNLV just gave him a clinic on the fast break.
Yeah, that was the way you handle a 3-on-1 break. Starting off by Banks' first pass.
Adams on Scott Barnes. Arnold challenged by Spoon James. Back over to Barnes. Didn't realize the ball was coming to him. Couldn't find the handle, and UNLV has it.
That's 11 turnovers in the game, 9 in the first half. Boyd Grant won't like that.
In fact, Fresno State averaging only 13 turnovers a game. Richie Adams way off to the left. Emerson has it.
Richie's trying to turn into an outside shooter there. That's a couple from a way out.
Richie is effective between 5 and 10 feet around the board, but that 12 and 15 footer is something else. 28-24. Strain has it knocked away by Gilliam. Knocked away again. Picked up by Kuipers. The lightning-like hands of the Rebels causing some problems for Fresno State. Mitch Arnold, 5-footer. So Fresno State has a 6-point lead at 30-24. Banks from outside, a 3-pointer. Kuipers has it. 6 rebounds for Yost Kuipers to go with his 11 points. The young man from Honesbroek, Holland, having a big game for Fresno State.
UNLV playing a man-to-man defense.
Adams comes out. Adams is on Mitch Arnold now.
Yeah, I've been watching that matchup, trying to figure if that's the way it's supposed to be. I think it is.
Scott Barnes has it. Fly sweated away by Richie Adams. Touched last by one of the Bulldogs. Crowd on its feet, unhappy. They thought that he was fouled.
Well, let's see who did deflect it last. Good block right there. And then it was hit. Couldn't tell.
30-24, Fresno State. We've played almost 4 minutes of this half. Spoon James from the corner. Grabbed off by Richie Adams. He tries a 10-footer. Off the knee of Spoon James. Out of bounds to Fresno State. And Boyd Grant will talk things over now with the Bulldogs. The fans here on their feet again. The red wave of Fresno, and the Bulldogs lead it by 6.
Phone 800-453-6500 today.
That is not Tarkanian, but somebody is chewing on the towel.
That's the real Tark right there. He hasn't been on the towel too much. He's been on his feet a lot. Now he's on his fingernails.
What's left of him? A 30-24 lead. Look at that. UNLV shooting only 13% this half. There's Arnold. 32-24.
Called it out of timeout. Double picked. Arnold came around baseline, was wide open.
Arnold has scored 6 points in this half. He now has 10 points on 4 out of 11 shooting from the field. Gilliam has a block by Emerson. Emerson chases it down. Let's see what the call is. Al Hackney made it. It's a push. And it's on Fred Emerson. 2 fouls on Emerson. And Gilliam will go to the line.
In other words, that must have been on the shot then.
I guess,
a long time ago, and we just didn't hear the whistle because Emerson blocked his shot and must have got him on the body. It's the only way he'd be getting free throws at this point.
32-25. Gilliam is 3 out of 7 at the line today. 7 points. Now 8 points. 32-26. Fresno State. Fresno State led at the half, 24-22. Pass down low to Barnes, and the foul will be against Spoon James. And James, in frustration, slams his doubled-up fist against the basketball support.
I've noticed that in time has gone on in his career, Spoon James gets a little more animated with each call that goes against him. He thought he reached in there and grabbed the ball cleanly away. Hard to tell from our angle, but it did look fairly clean.
A 6-point lead for Fresno State, 32-26. Strain with Freddie Banks right on him. Now Gilliam is taking Mitch Arnold. Arnold, a 14-footer. Grabbed off by...
That's going to be a technical.
I think it was Barnes that grabbed the rim.
And he knows what he did wrong, and they are going to call a technical on him. Yeah, he thought he had it timed perfectly to dunk it through, and he didn't. Really a soft touch by Arnold.
Freddie Banks will go to the free throw line. Banks is a 77%er at the line.
I think Boyd Grant was yelling at the official. He didn't grab it. I think we just saw pretty clearly that he did.
Yes, he did, and Scott knew it right away because he kind of dropped his head as if to say, why did I do that?
Tough free throw to make, by the way. You got the pom-poms waving behind you, and when they're not lined up, the players, you feel like you're all alone out there. Good shot by Freddie Banks. He has done a very admirable job of filling in at the point guard that was left vacated when Danny Tarkanian graduated last year. Banks can give you scoring, give you assist, and they were worried about the leadership they were going to do, but he does a good job out there under tough pressure.
A steal on the inbounds pass by Mitch Arnold. Yost Kuipers. 2. That's a 4-point turnaround right there. Vegas had the ball out of bounds. A soft pass from Gilliam taken off by Mitch Arnold, and then Kuipers burned him. 34-27. Spoon James. Down to Gilliam. Gilliam rolls it in, but Emerson was right on him, and they call a foul on Emerson, his third.
Good little passing against the zone defense by the running Rebels. They take their time. It looks like they got the big guys they can go inside to.
Gilliam has had his problems at the foul line. He's been there 8 times, has converted only 4. 8 points. Armin Gilliam. Brian Salone in for Fresno State. Emerson will come out. Gilliam at 6'8", 230. Was a championship wrestler in high school in the heavyweight division. 34-28. Fresno State leading. We have 14 minutes, 20 seconds left in this game from Selland Arena. And now Anthony Jones is taking Mitch Arnold. The Rebels have had 3 different men guarding Mitch Arnold. Mitch puts it up. We're going to get a foul. Blocking foul on UNLV.
Yeah, that's only the second team foul on them here in the second half, so they're in pretty good shape so far in that department.
It's on Anthony Jones. His second and 3 team fouls against the Rebels. UNLV has not been ahead in this game since they led 6-5. There's Scott Barnes. 36-28. Biggest lead for Fresno State has been 9. Now they have a margin of 8 with just under 14 minutes left. Spoon James puts up an 8-footer. Another rebound for Scott Barnes. 8 points and 8 rebounds for Barnes. At the side, Arnold.
That's 3.
A 3-pointer by Mitch Arnold. They've only put up 2, however, on the scoreboard.
One official said 3, I thought.
Banks sinks it. Can you check with the official score? I thought it was a 3-pointer as well, but they have only 38 up there. Check with the official score if you can, Len.
Okay.
You saw a 3-point?
I saw one official put up 3. He may have put up 2, but I thought.
Strain over to Mitch Arnold. They only gave him 2, according to the official score. There's Salone. He finally tips it in.
I think Las Vegas better start thinking about calling a timeout. They got the crowd going now. We're in the second half. They need to kind of regroup, maybe. They're not going to do it. They got Richie Adams back in there. It's time to go into the big guys, I think.
Listen to this crowd from Selland Arena. 10,000 plus. Adams, line drive shot. There's Gilliam underneath. And Clarence Hammond's got a foul against Armin Gilliam.
Right now, Gilliam is keeping him in the game, doing a good job. Richie Adams shooting a little farther out than he normally does. And remember, we said he was under the weather, had the flu, and he's short. It's an indication maybe he's not jumping like he normally does. They called the foul right down there.
On Gilliam.
Or Gilliam stepped out of bounds.
40-32, Fresno State. Running some time off of that 45-second clock. There's Barnes going hard, scoring it. A 10-point lead for Fresno State. And the fans here at Selland Arena enjoying every moment.
Now the crowd's really coming alive.
James, he scores on a 10-footer. 42-34. Basket by Spoon James. James has 4 points today. Ron Strain against Fred Banks. Richie Adams is on Yost Kuipers now. Strain makes his penetration out to Barnes, loses it, and it's picked up by Richie Adams. The foul against Scott Barnes.
And he really got an elbow from Richie Adams.
I think he got a bloody nose, too. It looked like I got banged right in the nose.
He fumbled the ball just as he was going to go up for the shot. He made a nice move. He's going to go up for the shot right here. He fumbled it, and that gave Richie Adams enough time to reach in there. And then Adams grabs it, throws the elbow back. Yeah, actually, he's just trying to free himself and the ball and got him right there.
I'm out here at Selland Arena in Fresno. We have 11:16 left. An 8-point lead for the Bulldogs. Battle for the PCAA postseason championship in the tournament. And Fresno State a winner by 2 points. It could be. Those two will be in the finals March 9th at the Forum.
Here's your foul situation for each team. No one in real serious trouble at this point. Those players with 3, though, have got to be careful. 5 disqualify you, as you know.
It's been a good game for Mitch Arnold. He's 5 out of 13 from the floor, and he'd been in a shooting slump the last 4 games. Seems to be snapping out of it. Ed Catchings is now in there for UNLV. Banks will take the shot, a 2-pointer. Rebounded by Scott Barnes. 9 rebounds for Barnes. Brian Salone underneath over Catchings. Gets it. 44-34. Fresno State.
That was the 9th assist for Ron Strain in the game. That pass to Salone. That is a new career high for him. 9 assists.
Spoon James. James gets it right back.
They could really use some shooting from Ed right there, like that.
2-pointer by Ed Catchings. 44-36. Fresno State. 10 minutes, 15 seconds left. Strain to Mitch Arnold. Mitch Arnold, Brian Salone, Scott Barnes, Yost Kuipers, and Ron Strain for the Bulldogs. I think Strain's taken. Oh, James and Kuipers starting to elbow one another. It'll be against Spoon James.
James says, hey, what about him? Might have been a good place, Mike, for a double foul, even if James was the instigator, because they've both been pushing and shoving all afternoon.
2 fouls on James, and Al Hackney came very close to giving James a tee. James said something to Al, and Al barked right back at him.
So Spoon's going to go over and settle down a little bit.
Emerson is in, and Yost Kuipers will go out for Fresno State. Fresno State 44, UNLV 36. Underneath the Barnes, scores! And again, the Bulldogs build up a 10-point lead, 46-36. Gary Graham, Ed Catchings out in front. Underneath the bucket is Richie Adams. They're having a tough time getting it inside to Adams. There it goes. 2 men on him. Finally got the roll.
Yeah, he was definitely due.
46-38. 8 points now for Richie Adams. 9 minutes, 15 seconds left. An 8-point lead for Fresno State. Steal by Adams. Adams will go in with one of his patented slams.
Yeah, just kind of a reach out and slap it down through the hoop. Easy type of basket.
So UNLV comes battling back, trailing by 6. Strain against Gary Graham. And a foul against Gary Graham. He was checking with his hands and he got caught. Yost Kuipers returns to the Fresno lineup.
Strain's intention the whole time is to try to penetrate. That's what he does the best.
See the hand
Fresno
in the back
State.
Hand check in the back of Strain.
And they got him for the foul.
Emerson goes out. It'll be Mitch Arnold, Yost Kuipers, Scott Barnes, Brian Salone, Ron Strain for Fresno State. Bad pass by Arnold. Here comes Gilliam. Off to Spoon James. He's got it. Spoon pulled up and took a 10-footer rather than try to take it all the way in.
Boy, this is a big turnaround going right now. Fresno State needs, and I think they're going to take a timeout. You know, as well as they are playing offensively here, now they finally do see the coach, and they do call time. As well as they're doing offensively in the second half, Fresno State only to lead by 4. That is a plus sign to me for Las Vegas.
We have 8 minutes and 18 seconds left. Boyd Grant and the Bulldogs of Fresno State up 46-42 over UNLV. It has been reduced to 4 right now as you look at the shooting stats in the second half. Quite a bulge there for Fresno State.
Yeah, although UNLV shows signs maybe of coming out of a little bit of a shooting slump, and should they do that, they can not only get right back in the contest, they might be able to shoot ahead. Very tall lineup Las Vegas has out there. Basically just one guard, and that's Graham.
Comes into Scott Barnes. Guys swarming all over him. Mitch Arnold. Back out to Scott Barnes. Still have over 8 minutes left in this game. The Fresno State lead is down to 4. Over to Mitch Arnold.
Give it to Kuipers. He's ready.
Three-point attempt by Yost Kuipers. 49-42. I'll say he was ready.
I think they called that in timeout. He was down below, and he just kind of drifted out. Spoon James didn't come out with him.
Whenever Kuipers shoots, it seems to be a pure shot, nothing but net.
He shoots the same way every time, the way he sets up and everything. Like I said, for a guy from Europe, he must have had somebody teach him that knew basketball really young when he was young, because he's got beautiful form.
Inside it goes to Adams. They deny the pass. Steal by Brian Salone. Fresno State brings it up, leading by 7, 49-42. 7 minutes, 15 seconds left.
Well, let's see if they just run the same thing. A lot of patience.
Now Richie Adams is on Mitch Arnold. Kuipers will try another three-pointer. Spoon James gobbles up the rebound. 49-42. Fresno State leading UNLV. The Rebels have not led since early in the game. That at 6-5. Then Fresno State got 10 straight points to take command, although the halftime score was only 2, 24-22 Fresno State. There's the alley-oop into Adams, taken away by Brian Salone. Maybe UNLV went to the well once too often. 49-42. A foul called against Brian Salone, elbowing his opponent. And Gary Graham just threw the ball right at Ron Strain. Graham wound up and threw a fastball right at Strain, and now Clarence Hammond over there talking to Strain. Apparently, Graham and Strain had some words because Graham fired a high hard one right at Strain.
Well, he's very frustrated. Graham is. He's been taken out of the game. He's got 3 fouls. He didn't think he was playing that aggressive, so he took his frustrations out in an unusual fashion, actually.
Mitch Arnold to Brian Salone. Ron Strain. Strain all the way in, puts up the shot, and gets it. Will the basket count? No. Traveling.
No basket.
So UNLV with Gilliam and Banks, Anthony Jones, Richie Adams, Ed Catchings, and right away UNLV calls for a timeout. 6 minutes and 12 seconds left. Timeout, UNLV. Fresno State leads the Runnin' Rebels, the number 11 team in the nation, 49-42, 6 minutes left. Yost Kuipers is a 6'8" junior, 23 years old, from Holmesbrecht, Holland, and he happens to be the Bulldogs' designated three-point shooter.
Well, Arnold could shoot it, but you can see what Kuipers is doing. He's having a good day, and he's shooting it well today. He's made 2 out of 3. You know, as a team, Mike, Fresno State makes 54% of their three-point shots. They only shot 24, though, coming into this game. It's not something Boyd Grant is a proponent of, but he happens to have a couple guys who can really can them.
Rod Tuller of Utah State will never forget him. He punched in 4 three-pointers to pull Fresno State from the ashes to a 1-point victory over Utah State a couple of weeks ago. Jones tries a shot from outside. Richie Adams doesn't get it to drop. Follow-up no good by Catchings, and we've got a foul underneath. It's on Mitch Arnold. In that game, Fresno State and Utah State, if you'll remember, the Bulldogs were down by 15 with 4 minutes to play. 1 on a shot by Yost Kuipers in the last second.
Well, this is just good rebounding by UNLV. They got the tall guys, and they just keep the ball up there high. Sooner or later, somebody is going to foul, and they do.
16 fouls against UNLV, 5 against Fresno State.
They want, Las Vegas bench wants a couple free throws out of it, saying that he was in the act of shooting.
And look at Tarkanian.
Well,
that's as upset as I have seen Jerry in 3 years.
Well, the officials are saying that it was apparently not a controlled tap, that it was still a loose ball. They could have gone either way. It's pretty controlled, some of those taps.
Out it comes. It's knocked away by Strain. Strain back over to Mitch Arnold. Loose ball. Who's got it? Strain comes up with it. The foul will be against Mitch Arnold.
You know, Arnold, he never gets upset, does he?
Doesn't seem to.
Yeah, he just looked at the official, said it's right on you, said okay.
Tarkanian is still upset about the play at the other end.
This was good defense. Look at this defense. He just stopped and actually just took Strain right out of the play. I'm talking about Anthony Jones. They called it on Arnold.
2 fouls on Mitch Arnold. Team fouls are even at 6. Let's see what Mitch Arnold has done scoring today. 12 points and 4 rebounds. But 8 of those points have come in this half. Score remains 49-42, 5.5 minutes left. Good defense by Fresno State. Catchings, 2-pointer. Ed Catchings. So that cuts the Fresno State lead down to 5 at 49-44. Boyd Grant conferring now with Ron Adams, one of his assistants.
Spoon James into the game, replacing Anthony Jones. So once again, UNLV's basically got 4 frontliners with 1 guard out there, Freddie Banks.
Ron Strain, the 6-foot senior guard from Tuskegee, Alabama.
What I do like here in the second half is Fresno State has basically gone with their starting lineup for the most part, except for Salone. He's played well.
Salone tips it in. Salone's first shot was deflected by Richie Adams, and then Salone tipped it right back through. 51-44, 6 points for Salone. Adams' shot comes over to Scott Barnes. 10 rebounds for Scott Barnes. 51-44, Fresno State. 4.5 minutes to play.
Real important right now for UNLV not to get frustrated because they're behind. Playing against Fresno, you can be that way.
Bounce pass over to Scott Barnes. He puts it up high off the glass. A 9-point lead for the Bulldogs at 53-44. This crowd is about ready to raise the roof. Banks from the corner. Another rebound for Yost Kuipers, and we get a foul. I think somebody was reaching over the top and got Kuipers. It's on Brian Salone of Fresno. Kuipers got bumped underneath, but the foul was called earlier on Brian Salone.
Fresno State wants to take timeout.
And they will get it. Less than 4 minutes to play. 3:56 to be exact. Fresno State 53, UNLV 44.
Boyd Grant was really upset at that call. I don't think that was the full reason he called timeout, though. As we look at this little double, triple pump in here by Barnes, and then he put it high on the board. When you're unsure of where you're going to shoot it and everything, just put it high up on the board and let it drop down in. And he did that. Left-hander, good shot. Now, the timeout situation is Fresno State and UNLV each have 2 timeouts left. And here is the typical Fresno State banner today, or one of the many, you might say.
Please don't send me to Las Vegas. Have banners galore here.
They probably only have about 1,500 students in the Selland Arena, the sellout crowd of 10,132. Not ideal. It's a big campus. They could probably get a few more, but believe me, they could have sold 20,000, 30,000 seats for this game today. People have been waiting months for this. In fact, they had 70 seats go on sale yesterday morning. People were camped out much of the night in the rain so they could be in line to get those 70 remaining seats that went on sale.
In the first meeting between these two, Vegas prevailed 70-58, but it was a tight game until about the last 5 minutes. And then the running Rebels ran off a good streak and one going away by 12. Bulldogs really shooting well.
Wow, that is excellent shooting. A lot of those, though, are good shots. That's the key. Of course, UNLV not shooting well.
You've got to credit that, though, to the Fresno State defense.
Yeah, I think UNLV is a little frustrated in that they would like to shoot from the outside, but then they think maybe they should be going inside. There's a little, I think, uneasiness in their minds what they should be doing offensively.
Banks is 2 out of 2 at the free throw line. 53-45, Fresno State. Fred Banks from Las Vegas. Didn't get that one. Richie Adams has it, and he misses underneath. And a foul on Brian Salone or Yost Kuipers. I'm not sure. It's on Yost Kuipers.
He's going to get 2 free throws out of it. That's the key. UNLV really, I've noticed this on the free throws, really crashes in. Look at Adams. He just pushes everybody out of the way. He's got great position there. The ball comes right to him. Now, that's Salone's fault. Salone has just got to push back just as hard as Adams does.
Adams is an 80% free throw shooter.
They say it's a non-contact sport. You ought to watch him push on those free throws.
Absolutely. 54. That makes it 53-47. So Nevada, Las Vegas down by 6 as Strain has it down court. Brian Salone. Nice pass from Barnes, and Strain scores it.
That's why they're shooting 68%. They're really threading the needle in there with their offense.
Strain has taken only 3 shots in this game. But that was certainly a key hoop for Fresno State.
He's had a good game, Mike. At least 9 assists out there, career high.
He does exactly what Boyd Grant wants him to do. Make the penetration, handle the ball. From way outside, James on the 3-point attempt. Yost Kuipers has it for Fresno State. Now it's knocked away by Richie Adams. And it comes off to Ron Strain.
Got to be a foul on Las Vegas. The officials having a little trouble there. I'll tell you, Vegas decides they're going to get back in this game. They're going to do it by playing rough. They are.
No holds barred here today. The foul is on Richie Adams, his second.
Adams knocks the ball away. Pretty clean play right there, but the referee called it right before, and then he tried to just avoid the injury.
Fresno State 55, UNLV 47. Strain is at the line. What kind of a free throw shooter is he? 63%. Strain has 9 assists. 9 assists today. (40) 55-47 the score. The rebound is snapped up by Armin Gilliam. 2 minutes, 57 seconds left. Anthony Jones. Spoon James. Underneath Catchings. Tough shot. Follow up. Gilliam no good. Comes off over to Strain. Strain to Mitch Arnold.
That's the idea.
Scott Barnes. Back out it comes to Yost Kuipers.
Take some time off the clock. That's what they got to do.
Strain into Scott Barnes, and Barnes is tripped by Gilliam. Foul on Armin Gilliam.
Tough break for Gilliam. He didn't do anything intentionally. He just got himself out of position a little bit. Got tangled up with Barnes' feet. Probably just as well, though, because Barnes was going to have pretty good position to score under there, and Gilliam was going to have to foul him to stop him.
Barnes has scored 14 points today, 2 out of 2 at the line, and he also has 10 rebounds.
Just to recap a few things we've been talking about, UNLV in their 3rd year in the PCA has only lost 3 conference games coming in here, coming in with the nation's longest winning streak. It shows you the kind of game that Fresno State has played here today. And they also come in averaging 88 points a game in conference play, and they got 47 right now with 2 minutes left.
10-point lead for Fresno State. 57-47 as Barnes knocks down both free throws. A 10-point lead for the Bulldogs. James misses. Another rebound for Scott Barnes. Barnes clears it over to Strain. Almost lost it.
Strain looks good out there. Real cool when he handles the ball. That's going to be important the rest of the way because they're going to have a lead they're going to try to hold on to.
Brian Salone. Barnes out in front. Underneath Salone. Salone is hammered by catching.
Oh, he almost got it in, too.
Brian Salone will get 2. The crowd, realizing you only have a minute and 42 seconds on their feet. The red wave en masse. A 10-point lead for Fresno State.
Jerry Tarkanian called that timeout. Thus, his team now has only 1 timeout left in the game. Fresno State has 2 remaining.
And UNLV has missed 8 shots in a row.
Well, you got to give some credit to the Fresno State defense. That matchup zone, they come way out. They take away the outside shot from you, and yet they move well enough and position themselves so well underneath that the lob passes or whatever attempts to get it into deep to Gilliam or Adams, they have contained that too, and that's basically what you got to do to stop Las Vegas. It's easier said than done, believe me. Other opponents will tell you that. Jerry Tarkanian sends his team right out there on the court. Now, you got to start thinking about the three-point basket, I think, if you're UNLV. And they got some guys who can shoot it, primarily Freddie Banks, who comes in having hit 17 of 45 from the year, although James can shoot it too. He's got 7 of 11 for the year, and he's in there.
Well, we all remember that triple overtime game, our first conference game at Logan, Utah, when it seemed as though Nevada, Las Vegas was out of it about 4 different times. They were down by 6 in the third overtime, and yet the three-point play was certainly big by Freddie Banks. Pulled their chestnuts out of the fire, and UNLV went on to win in 3 overtimes, 142-140 at Logan, Utah, the 2nd of January. This three-point play makes it a different game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, at the end, things change, strategy changes a lot. Keeps things alive until the close, perhaps.
1 minute, 42 seconds left. 58-47. Fresno State. Remember, Las Vegas has not led in this game since early on at 6-5. Adams misses the 8-footer. Mitch Arnold with the ball.
You got to think that Adams is a little bit under the weather because he's shooting every shot Mike short, an indication that he's tired, not up to par physically.
Brian Salone takes it to the hoop, and Salone is fouled by Richie Adams. Brian Salone comes over and gets a few words from
Tough decision
Ron
here.
Adams.
Tough decision. Do you delay the clock or do you go into Sloan is wide open? Then what does he do? He gets pushed. Had he tried to bank that, he might have been able to get it in. But Adams did the smart thing, made sure he didn't score it.
Brian Salone has 7 points, 1 out of 2 at the line. He'll shoot a pair. Not there. 58-47. Fresno State with just 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. 59-47, the biggest lead by Fresno State, 12 points, 59-47. James quickly inside Adams. Volleyballed around, Strain comes up with it. Strain gets it over to Scott Barnes. Mitch Arnold. Arnold on a 3-on-1 over to Kuipers. He takes it in hard and is fouled by Freddie Banks. They're not going to count that basket.
No. The crowd's getting all excited, but Kuipers is going to the line for 2.
And Yost Kuipers is an exceptional free throw shooter. 93% at the line in PCAA competition.
Banks just got his elbow there and made sure he didn't miss it. Kuipers was hoping to make it, though.
Kuipers has 16 points. First trip to the free throw line. Remember, he's missed only 1 free throw all conference season. Now 2.
Why is it that we build these guys up as great free throw shooters every time they miss it?
Yost Kuipers again gets this one. A 13-point lead for Fresno State. Less than a minute to play. Banks over to Gilliam. Knocked away from Gilliam. Another rebound for Scott Barnes. 12 of them for Scott Barnes. Foul will be on Barnes.
Yep, great steal by Gilliam.
Barnes is really playing his heart out here today.
Look at that steal by Gilliam right in there. And Barnes did a smart thing, I think. He's going to send in the line for a 1-and-1 probably. The only bad part of it is it was his 4th foul, but it was like 3-on-1, so they would have scored.
Harmon Gilliam is 5 out of 9 at the free throw line. He will shoot the 1-and-1. 60-48, Fresno State. 46 seconds remaining. $60-49. So the Bulldog lead is 11 now with only 46 seconds left. And here is a foul on Spoon James, pushing off on Scott Barnes.
When they have full court pressure, they love to go into Barnes, and if you can stop that inbounds pass, you can stop them. But Jerry Tarkanian didn't have in mind a foul on the play.
Our thanks to Brad Rothamo, the athletic director at UNLV, and Jack Lindell, the athletic director at Fresno State. Joyce Aschenbrenner, the sports information director at Nevada, Las Vegas, and Scott Johnson, who does such an excellent job up here at Fresno State. We thank all of those people for their assistance. Scott Barnes with 16 points. 61-49. Barnes, 17 points and 12 rebounds. Scott Barnes from Brentwood, California, up in the Bay Area. Got both of them. Once again, Fresno State with a 13-point lead. Shot by Banks doesn't drop. Another rebound for Mitch Arnold. Down to Scott Barnes. Barnes over to Yost Kuipers. He is fouled by Ed Ketching.
Crowd didn't like it, but Gilliam and Ketching's doing just what they got to do. Make sure that he doesn't score the basket. Looking at it one more time, the passing by Fresno State, of course, is always excellent. Ketching's got him, and Gilliam kind of made sure. But actually, Gilliam looked like he was kind of catching himself as he fell there to make sure he didn't get hurt.
Yost Kuipers, 17 points and 7 rebounds.
This place is just about ready to erupt, Mike. We got a lot of people out of their seats ready to jump onto the floor as soon as this game ends.
The red wave may engulf the Bulldogs when this one is over.
Yeah, the waves are up. They have not shot their free throws well. They've only been making a ratio of about 1 out of 2. However, Las Vegas hasn't helped by at the other end, helped themselves because they've been missing shots.
63-49. Last year when UNLV came in here, as you watch Banks, he's got it. They scored only 43 points, and now today they've got 51. 63-51, Fresno State. Salone out the screen. Barnes is fouled by Spoon James. Look at James. Never touched him. That's what he's saying. Keith Hughes fired up over in the Fresno State bench. The high fives are starting already.
I really like the way they substituted Fresno State in this game, Mike. Just substituting in the first half, kept his players out of foul trouble, kept them fresh so that he could go basically with this unit that he's got out here the whole second half.
The nation's longest winning streak in jeopardy with only 13 seconds left. UNLV had won 17 in a row. Banks on a three-point attempt. Spoon James on the follow, knocked away, and the foul will be whistled against Yost Kuipers. Fresno State 63, Nevada, Las Vegas 51, and Boyd Grant just 5 seconds away from his sweetest victory of this season.
So they're going to split the season series, maybe set up the stage for the PCA tournament. They could finish 1-2 in the conference.
That's the way it went last year. Vegas won the first meeting. And then Fresno State the second, and Fresno State beat Vegas by 2 points in the PCAA playoffs.
I'm sure that Vegas would love to have a rematch in the tournament.
And Tarkanian calls a timeout, and he's getting booed for it. 5 seconds left. Fresno State 63, UNLV 52.
Don't even need a road to drive.
See your Merced, Fresno, Visalia, or Porterville Subaru dealer today.
Fresno State is about to up its overall record to 14-6, 9-2 in conference play. The Rebels will be 18-3 and 11-1. They're wiping it off. Stepped over the line.
Yeah, I think it might have been Anthony Jones.
Barnes with 18, Kuipers 17, Mitch Arnold 12, the 3 leaders for Fresno State. Barnes, in addition to his 18 points, has 12 rebounds. Kuipers has 7.
I'm still trying to figure out if that's what they're doing, why Jerry Tarkanian called the last time out.
It's over. Fresno State the winner, 63-52, and UNLV's 17-game winning streak is over. A victory for Boyd Grant and the Bulldogs of Fresno State, 63-52 over UNLV. This Grant's too, because Boyd Grant has an amazing record of 98 victories, only 12 defeats here at Selland Arena. And the Bulldogs win today to knock off UNLV 63-52. For Lynn Shackelford, this is Mike Walden saying so long and good afternoon from Selland Arena in Fresno, California. This has been a presentation of Cats Sports.
PCAA tournament championship tonight.
Barnes with the reverse layup. Salone can't find the control, but Scott Barnes says, hey, I can.
And Boyd Grant's program here have been Doug Streeter, who isn't here with me tonight, and these two gentlemen who I have the pleasure of interviewing, Mr. Bobby Anderson, great point guard, and Mr. Tyrone Bradley, another great point guard. Bobby, what have you done since you graduated from Fresno State?
Well, right now, Craig, I'm working with a bunch of good people over here at Thompson's Architecture Group, and I'm trying to get ready to take this professional exam this summer.
Great. How about you, Tyrone? What has your post-FSU career held for you here?
Okay, I currently been working with the Boy Scouts of America, and I also been a coach out in Sanger, but this is our last year coaching, and I want to go back to school and further my education.
That's great. As I said, Bobby, I think you and Tyrone were two of the all-time greats to ever play at Fresno. Do you ever wish Mom and Dad had given you 3 or 4 more inches so you could have played in the NBA with your buddies Rod and Ron and Bernard?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for that compliment, and answer to your question is yes. But I'm enjoying life right now, so I'm happy with everything.
Tyrone, you hear so much about how Fresno's 2-7